I'm coming to get you on your 150th birthday. Here's the thing, everybody. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, Stephen Harper, the former Prime Minister of Canada, who had terms as a majority and minority leader, was there for years, and the previous Liberal government, under Paul Martin, have perpetuated a fraud upon the Canadian people, and I'm calling them out on it right now on the show. Here's the short history of Canadian politics. First, you vote Conservative to get rid of the Liberals. They've been there so long doing things. And then you get angry at the Conservatives because they make mistakes and they take things that aren't theirs. So then you vote Liberal to get rid of the Conservatives. And this is the ridiculous voting game that we were just talking about with our guest today, Edward Fitzpatrick. Because then when you vote the Liberals in, then you get angry at them and you vote them out, and it's a cycle of shit and shame. It's not working properly, and it's all the product of sober minds that have always looked down on the use of cannabis, and we're running things, and this is how it's going to go. And this world's on fire, man. There's wars going on. How could you have a civil war, a flood, and a nuclear war threat going on all the time like that in the States? That's a lot of trauma. Cannabis is good for trauma. But here's what I really want to get to and why I am calling Canada out on this bullshit as we fade on out of here. Here's a new article I just read, and this is why I'm going to call Canada to task. This is in The Guardian again. This is not an opinion, like the earlier story about opioids and the damage they're causing by the very governmental systems that are keeping cannabis away from us. These people are evil, if not stupid, and I'm tired of sitting under it. So here's a great article, finally, in The Guardian. Finally, mainstream. This is so good. Anthony Brown, he's the health editor. This is not an opinion. Cannabis is a wonder drug capable of radically transforming the lives of very sick people, according to the results of the first clinical trials of the drug. And I don't like the word drug, but I get it. Tests sanctioned by the government are proving far more successful than doctors, patients, and cannabis campaigners ever dared hope. Some of the patients are simply calling it a miracle. Taking the drug, which is still illegal for doctors to prescribe, here and there depending on your jurisdiction, but primarily looked down upon and illegal, has allowed a man previously so crippled with pain, me, and others, that he was impotent to become a father, a woman paralyzed by multiple sclerosis to ride a horse for the first time in years, and a man who couldn't sit up in a chair on his own to live without a cane. Been there, done that. Until now, claims of the benefit drug for certain conditions have been anecdotal. But the preliminary results of the UK government trial started last year suggest that 80% of those taking part have derived more benefit from cannabis than any other drug, with many describing it as miraculous, quote-unquote. The results make it almost inevitable that the government will bow to public pressure and legalize the cultivation of cannabis for medical purposes. Scientists now predict that cannabis, first used for medicinal reasons 5,000 years ago in this mainstream Guardian 100% article that was sanctioned by people quite sober, will follow aspirin and penicillin to become a wonder drug prescribed for a wide range of conditions. The very thing I've been made fun of and anybody else. You think it's good for everything? Well, I guess that's the results of this scientific studies. Bowing to pressure for less hardline attitude, the Home Office in England started the first major cannabis trials in the world to see whether there was any scientific basis for its use as medicine. A license was granted to a specially formed drug company to grow the plants under controlled conditions in a secret location in southern England. 23 patients suffering from multiple sclerosis and arthritis were recruited on the first trial and given daily doses of cannabis by spraying it under the tongue before wider trials were started. The remarkable stories of the patients will be revealed on the BBC program Panorama, which was granted unique access to them. Alex Ure, a former paratrooper, suffers from a severe spinal condition. The pain was so bad he considered suicide. He found legal painkillers. Opioids turned him into a zombie, and he couldn't have sex with his wife, Wendy, for 5 years. On the other hand, neither was I. But after starting the trial, he became a father. I couldn't even bend down and play with a child before. I can do anything now. His doctor, Willie Nutcutt of James Paget Hospital in Great Yarmouth, was sure that cannabis was responsible. I'm saying his doctor was sure that the cannabis was responsible. His pain's been sufficiently controlled to engage in sex again, he said. And then another fella, and then another guy with spasms, and he can sleep, and a woman, and a wife of a chaplain, and suffered badly. And it's a series of anecdotes, but they're all scientifically backed up and say at the end of this thing that the results have exceeded what I dared hope for. We are getting 80% of patients good quality benefit from cannabis. For some, we are getting almost total relief from their pain, with pain scores going down to 0. Doctors believe cannabis could eventually prove useful in conditions such as osteoporosis, cancer, HIV, AIDS, arthritis, spine injury, and certain forms of mental illness, which you have to be to make it illegal. And this is why I was talking about Canada in the first place. This article, this piece of knowledge, was published on Sunday, November 4th, 2001. You fucking bastards. With your laws and your bullshit, and you're going to say, oh, we didn't know about this. Well, then you had no business making such a series of strict rules and laws for the last 16 years that have incarcerated I don't even know how many people and fostered I don't know how much pain. While your sober-minded policies continue to twist this planet into a pretzel of shit. With your fucking laws that don't make sense. And they're oppressive. And people are getting sick and staying there and believing the bullshit about all of these other drugs that are toxic. And this came out in 2001. And the previous liberal government was rolling over like a steamroller any access to cannabis. All of the Harper years and now the Trudeau years, same thing, all of it going against the Parker ruling 2000, where we do so have access to this if the government can't put it together, and the government can't put it together. They're fucking lying about it. 16 years of this? I had to hear from a doctor in 2013, there's nothing you can do? Bone up on your research. You're the doctor, you're the policy setter. You're the politician. And so we're going to put a class action suit. So if you're listening to the show and you're kind of pissed off about this and you lost anybody over the last 16 years, you got hurt, you used it for some kind of thing, you got busted, let's put a class action suit together. I'm going to be stepping up to the Upper Canada Legal Society with a free consultation in the next couple of days, and we'll see what they have to say about this. Because I put it forward right now, and I'm calling it right now, that you guys have known about this stuff and made your repressive policies against it anyway, while you're also sometimes partially investing into these detection schemes that are supposed to find out if we've been using it or not. Yeah, we've been using it. We've been using it a lot. And you're wrong about everything about it when you try to repress it. And all of this is coming out in this 16-year-old, almost entirely 16-year-old newspaper article has undone my anger. I'm unleashed, baby. This is no good anymore, okay? I understand what's going on here, but we're going to fade on out. This has been Green Crush. Thanks for listening. I understand that you're not well. I understand that you're feeling any kind of strange pains that you can't put my finger on. I don't know. It seems like I'm kind of anything at all. You're likely deficient in cannabis oil, in your endogenous cannabinoid system. That's a heck of a word. It's hard to say. Some people say cannabinoid. Some people say cannabinoid. Most people say, huh? What's that? That is the latter. That's the little drip, drip, drip at a time that'll take you out of a huge problem. A medical problem that can end your life. And now I'm here, coming back to tell you about it. I feel like I saw stuff on the other side of the curtain, and I'm just trying to share it with you. But for now, we got to go, and we'll see you next week.